Welcome to the Panic Button, everyone. I'm Nina. I saw one of my favorite content creators on YouTube, Curly Boy Chuck, reacting to a video of AOC on the House floor, speaking out against a bill that just passed the House that would eradicate federal funding for any schools K through 12 that allows males in female sports. And it was some so I had to react to it because this is some next level lunacy.
Welcome back to my channel and back to a brand new video. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the wonderful bartender that we all know and hate, AOC. So recently, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but recently the House passed a bill banning biological boys and men from competing against females in schools in sports, which is a huge win. Finally, some common sense laws being passed for biological females not having to compete with men any longer in a variety of sports. And of course, AOC, the lovely AOC, was not happy about this and decided to get on the House floor and say one of the most outrageous speeches that I've ever heard in my entire lifetime. She said it here. So we're gonna go over what she had to say and react to it in real time because that's just what I do. So without further ado, let's sit back and watch this disastrous reaction from somebody who claims to be a fighter for women's rights. It's always funny how the left always claims to fight for women's rights, and then when their rights are actually being fought for, they get upset. Because God forbid you upset trans people. God forbid. Without further ado, roll it.
Republicans who have voted consistently against the Violence Against Women Act, who have taken away the right of all women to choose and have control over their own body, who, as women are bleeding out in parking lots across the country, standing there, allowing us to die, now want to pretend today.
Well, that's seriously an over-exaggeration if I've ever heard one myself. But go on.
That they care about women. And why? To open up gender and, yes, genital examinations into little girls in this country.
No, we have something called, it's a piece of paper. What is that called? A birth certificate. Yeah, that's really easy to be able to tell who's male and female just by looking at the birth certificates, which, surprise, surprise, they need in order to go to school. So why in the hell is this lady thinking about looking at little girls' genitals? What is on her mind is my question.
Country in the so-called name of attacking trans girls. And to that,
males.
And to that, today, what we have to say are two words: not today.
Yes, today, because it passed. It passed.
The majority right now says there's no place in this bill that says it opens up for genital examinations.
That's exactly true. It does not. But thank you for not reading the bill, you dense bitch.
Well, here's the thing. There's no enforcement mechanism in this bill. And when there is no enforcement mechanism, you open the door to every enforcement mechanism.
And when you open the door to allowing males to compete against girls and in female spaces, you open the door for perverts to come in, stare at them getting dressed and exposing themselves. Thanks. You did a good job protecting women.
Trans girls are girls.
Nope, they got or they have a hole where there used to be a dick. Not a girl.
And for all the folks that are so concerned, thank you for your concern about women for the first time that I've seen.
Really? Well, what about you and your concern for girls? No, you only give a shit after they've been raped and have to have an abortion. You're opening a door to allow men in their spaces where they're getting naked and pulling down their pants. That's an open invitation for. So who actually cares about girls and women? In her mind, men are girls. Only if they're wearing dresses, though. Because if they're not wearing dresses, have their hair long, or saying they're trans, then she hates them. She hates the white man, except for the one she's dating.
I don't know about y'all. I don't know who's been to gym class lately, but girls, even if you only believe in two genders, I've played co-ed sports all the time. But what this also opens the door for...
Were you getting to a point? Was she getting to a point? I don't know about y'all, but I go to gym class, and I was in gym class, and there were girls in gym class, and gender in gym class, and y'all.
is for women to try to perform a very specific kind of femininity for the very kind of men who are drafting this bill.
Wow, so she thinks that this is about femininity? No, it's about having a dick and balls and being in female spaces and sports. Very simple. These are trying to make it seem like men can be women and women can be men. Like, okay. No, they can't. There is a very small minority of transsexuals who are cool, who are based in reality, who know what they were born as and aren't trying to step all over women's shit. But the rest of them are a bunch of assholes, taking advantage of the loophole and retardation of women like this. She's being used by men she would have hated before they put on the dress. That's who I want, speaking and representing me. Oh, and the femininity thing? We're not talking about femininity. No, there's a lot of men who are very feminine who are not trans. There were a lot of women who are very masculine who are not trans. It has nothing to do with femininity. It has to do with perverts going into our spaces, taking over all our shit.
And to open up questioning of who is a woman because of how we look, how we present ourselves, and yes, what we choose to do with our bodies.
It takes very few brain cells to be able to come up with this nonsense.
I know who loves this bill. Yes, bigoted folks love this bill. Assaulters love this bill.
Assaulters love this bill. Bigots love this bill. Neo-Nazis love this bill. Rapists love this bill. Y'all don't know. Lady, who voted for you? Who? What a sad sack of baloney.
But also, CEOs love this bill because Los Angeles is on fire right now. And this is the number one priority this majority has.
Oh, yeah, I forgot, because we can only argue about one thing at a time in the United States. Maybe for her, she can only argue one thing at a time. But for everyone else, we can multitask. She's not a very good representation for women if she can only think about one thing at a time.
Thank you, and I yield back.
Don't you just love it? Don't you just love the way that they like to flip the script and create a different narrative? So
now I'll say this. I am way more colorful with my words than a majority of the content creators that I love on this platform. But their ability to stay calm and articulate wonderfully, this is another reason why I like Chuck. And because when he does get salty, when he does get fierce, it's hilarious. When you see someone so calm, cool, and collected just say,
now, people who love this bill protecting young girls in schools from biological men competing in their sports and being in their locker rooms, the only ones who love this bill, according to AOC, are bigots. Of course, all the bigots. Come together, bigots. It's just us.
By the way, the words that they use to describe people that they don't agree with, it's another reason why they lost the election. Because there's no middle ground with them. It's either one or the other. It's either one extreme or the other extreme. If you don't like what I'm thinking and saying, then you're a bigoted neo-Nazi racist.
Come, you're safe here. No, I think people who love this bill are people with common sense, are people who understand that there is a difference biologically between men and women. People who understand that science actually is a real thing and that the male and female bodies are built differently. The fact that she tried to equate, well, when I was in school, I did co-ed sports. Okay, co-ed sports is different than...
Oh, that's what she was talking about? That's what she was talking about? I did co-ed sports. Really? Did you win a trophy? Did you get first place? No, you didn't. And how do I know? You were playing co-ed sport. You were playing against guys.
And competing in a sport with only females or only males, and then having a biological male coming into the female sector and deciding to compete with them as a female. That is vastly different. But what they love to do on the left is they love to redefine, the definition. I mean, again, this is the same group that can't define what a woman is, so not shocking. But they like to redefine what's actually happening, and they like to downplay it. What I would say to that is the reason why Donald Trump won, a big factor, is because people are tired of woke politics. And
Thank you, Chuck. This is what we've been saying the whole time. Do you know how many people I know that were Democrats that voted for Trump? We all believe in reality because reality dictates our life. The last thing we want is someone else's reality dictating our life. And if we have losers like this in government telling us what reality is, we might as well hop on over to North Korea and hang out with them for a little bit.
Politics. And again, I said this before and I'll say it again. One of the most popular ads that Donald Trump had that according to critics and according to polls, did so well was the ad in which Kamala Harris is spouting, trans issues in California and how happy she is that trans males can have sex surgeries in prison that's going to be paid for by tax.
And it's transphobia. It's transphobia. The whole commercial was transphobia. No, that commercial was just stating a fact of reality. They don't like reality. They really don't. They think reality is bigoted, but no. Just because they don't live in reality doesn't mean the rest of us don't live in reality, because we all do. They have the privilege of not being able to live in reality. We don't have that kind of privilege. We have to deal with a lot of shit that those crazy people in government, in the spotlight, don't have to deal with. So they're trying to dictate their reality to us. This bitch can get out of a speeding ticket. If I get pulled over, I'm getting a ticket. You think I'm gonna listen to this bitch about speeding tickets? No, because she doesn't have to deal with this shit. We do. That's why we voted for Trump. We had no choice. We went with the less crazy. The one who's crazy but believes in reality. Aside from the crazier ones who don't. Can we please just start opening up state mental institutions again? Because there's a lot of people I would love to just shove right in there.
And she was so excited about that. That one ad did so much damage to her campaign.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners.
Now look at that mammoth of a man. You telling me that a woman walks in there and she's going to be like, she is sitting next to a woman. But in AOC's mind, that would be a woman. That's a woman. That's a woman. No, it's not a woman. That's a man.
Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
It's hard to believe, but it's true. Even the liberal media was shocked Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners and illegal aliens.
Every transgender inmate would have access.
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
It's just common sense. We're not asking for rocket science here. We're not asking you to bend over backwards and change things. We're asking you to accept that males and females are different and that, yes, we should be actively trying to protect females in the sport setting. But what does she do? She tries to flip it, right? And she tries to say that people who care about this bill don't really care about females because they're not pro-abortion. They're not pro-women killing their babies. So therefore, you can't be pro-women in sports. You can't be pro-women in anything if you don't agree with the murder of innocent unborn children. You see how...
No, see, this is where I disagree with Chuck. I don't think crazy people should be having babies, okay? And if you're going to have an abortion, you were either irresponsible or something terrible happened to you. Either way, you're in a bad situation and you should not be having that child. I'm totally for it. Don't have children if you don't want them. Either way, I was for the abortion thing, but when those crazy motherfuckers had to come in and say men or women, and they can be in our spaces and watch us change and pull out their in front of us, and there's nothing we can do about it because they say they're trans. When that started happening, I'm like, fuck that. Get rid of this crazy woke shit. You pushed me away from one of the things that I was on board with you with and pushed me towards the other side, who I don't agree with on a lot, but I agree with on something that is so vital that I'd rather be a Republican. Do you see what I'm saying? They don't. They don't. Because they wouldn't listen to someone like me because I'm a bigot, transphobe, whatever the they would call me. But this is why they'll keep losing. And I'm totally cool with it. Because I'll fight the Republicans all day on the abortion thing. I don't care. Just as long as I don't have to stand next to this bitch and do it.
You see how backwards that thinking is? You see how manipulative that thinking is to say that if you don't think like me on this subject, then you can have a different perspective on this subject.
And that's why we all voted for Trump, because these people, you don't agree with them on one thing and they're like, okay. Well, those people are like, oh, I don't agree with you, but you can come over here and we can talk about it. It's like, okay, I'm going over there. See you later. They keep doing it. They're the mean girls. They're the ones who are like, oh, you didn't like Sarah's dress today? Well, now you're a pariah. And now we're going to bully you for the rest of the school year. That's them.
Can't do both. They try to say that. They try to push that agenda. Of course, it always falls flat because we all know that common sense is going to win at the end of the day. And guess what? Donald Trump won. He won every swing state. He won the popular vote and he won the Electoral College. And a big factor in that win is the American people being sick and tired of woke politics. Like this, like the AOCs trying to convince us that biological boys, who she says are girls, should be allowed to compete with females for the sake of women's rights.
You know what my favorite movie was when I was a kid? Ladybugs. That was funny. It was very true, very factual, that movie. Now it's real life. Yeah, it's real life now. Now it's no longer funny. Although I still watch it and have a good chuckle. It's also kind of morbid and strange that I'm living in a reality that used to be the comedy in a 90s comedy film. Wow.
Yeah. Editing Chuck here. She also goes out of her way, and I forgot to mention this earlier, she goes out of her way to redefine what the bill actually means. So she lies and says that this bill is going to allow officials to now do body checks on females to make sure that they have the female anatomy, which, by the way, is nowhere in this bill. Total lie. But then again, that's what they do. They go to the extreme and they try to create a false narrative to support their extreme views on biology, men and women, etc. She also goes on to say that this bill is really about trying to define what femininity is in sports, which is a total bull-faced lie, because we have seen many females, biological females, in sports like basketball and boxing.
When these crazy people like AOC, when they start arguing their points, because they don't live in reality, they start arguing points that make no sense to anyone. So they're really just farting out of their mouth.
And track and field and swimming, who are husky, who have tall bodies, are muscular. You know, we've seen women who are biological females who have a strong masculine physique. It doesn't mean that we're trying to redefine what femininity is. What we're saying is you can be as masculine as you want to be as long as you are biologically a female, as long as your estrogen levels are that of a female, to make it fair across the board. That's all. I don't care if you have short hair, long hair. I don't care if you wear trunks, if you don't. I don't care. What I care about and what most...
I agree with Chuck on everything he's saying here, aside from the abortion thing, but we can agree to disagree. We can have different opinions. The last thing that he said there, I think because of this whole trans thing getting out of hand, it's become so ridiculous that I literally saw a video yesterday of a guy who was in front of a judge, or was it a police officer? I can't remember. He was in a, I believe it was a courthouse. He had long hair, looked like a dude, was a dude. And the cop or the judge asked, "What is your gender?" And this guy was like, "I have a dick." And the guy said, "Okay, but what do you identify as?" And the guy was like, "A man." So this is how far the trans thing has gone, to where we can't even be normal anymore. We have to ask these questions. Like, not only is it embedded in every fiber of society, but it's also made people ask the dumbest questions I've ever heard in my life. And that's where we're at today. And I hope to God we come back to some form of normalcy when it comes to living in reality. Anyway, like and subscribe to this video, join our memberships, comment below, share this video. Stay out of trouble, put on a smile, swear as much as you want, and have a good fucking day.